welcome to SCI GUYS, the show where we talk about the crazy, weird, and wonderful stories from the science world. I'm Corey, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Champ and Luke Cutforth.
Hello.
And we're live at Pride.
Yes, our first live show, Corey.
Mention that, Corey.
Well, I was going to mention that until you cut me off.
We're doing a live show in a pop-up shop at Pride in London.
Yeah, thank you to Pride in London.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
This week, we'll be talking about poisoned apples and conscious computers. Give me an
As you do.
Conscious computers don't exist, Corey.
Well, we'll find out about that, Luke.
Or do they?
Alan Turing. Alan Turing was an English scientist specializing in cryptanalysis, computing, and theoretical biology. He's known as the father of artificial intelligence. During World War II, he was instrumental in cracking the Germans' Enigma code. Turing was also a bit of a gay.
He was.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a gay man.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So yeah, do you guys know anything about Alan Turing at all?
Do you know anything about Alan Turing?
Oh yeah!
There was a film about him. Yeah, he was Benedict Cumberbatch in a film one time.
That's actually, yeah. So he was born in London on the 23rd of June, 1912, and he was a genius from a young age. Apparently had no interest in reading or writing, you know, like with English.
Me neither.
Yeah, no. He was a scientist from the start. In fact, when he was 16, he figured out that Einstein was questioning Newton's laws of motion without knowing really what Newton's laws of motion were.
He's got a bit of a big head on him.
Yeah, he just figured it out at 16.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So he was a bit of an eccentric. So, like I said, he worked in World War II to crack the Enigma code. And while he was doing that, in the first week of June each year, he would get a bad attack of hay fever. He would cycle to the office wearing a service gas mask to keep the pollen off. And his bicycle was broken, had a fault. Every so often, the chain would just come off. Instead of getting the chain fixed, he counted how many pedals he did, got off the bike, and fixed the chain again before it broke. Apparently, he he chained his mugs to the radiator so that no one would steal them.
What? Hang on. What?
This is coming from a guy called Jack Good, so I don't know how good his information is.
Pretty good.
I'm willing to trust him. He was also a long-distance runner. Apparently, he tried out for the Olympics, was close to getting it, but they found out in his running group that he was better than everyone. When one day they all went on a run, and he just went out by himself running and passed them.
Oh my God.
So he was like hench.
So he was just good at everything.
He was really good at everything. Yeah, he was a bit of a Sherlock. Have any of you heard of the Turing test?
Yes.
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 Okay, the Turing test is a test
I didn't even go
where
into history.
Turing believed that if you had a conversation with a computer and you can't tell by the end of the conversation whether or not it's a computer, then it is, to all intents and purposes, conscious.
That's close, but it's wrong.
Oh.
Close.
Excuse me.
I'll give you the background of it. So initially, scientists were asking, can machines think? And Turing looked at that question and he thought, that's not a very good question. What are machines and what does thinking mean? So he replaced it with a question, can machines play well at the Imitation game?
That's the name of the film.
That's the name of the film, by the way.
The Imitation game.
So the Imitation game is...
In the film, The Imitation Game, do they
Benedict
say anything
Cumberbatch.
about the Imitation Game?
No, they really didn't, did they?
don't.
They didn't do anything. It's
They
literally
don't.
just about breaking the Enigma code.
Yes.
Yeah, the Imitation game came like afterwards. So it's like it was this party game. You can tell it was really boring.
I think they said
in
the
the
word
early
imitation, but
1900s.
that's
What kind of boring parties were they going to in the early 1900s?
Genuinely, this game is you get a man and a woman, and you put them in separate rooms.
Heteronormative.
Yeah, very heteronormative. And you write down questions for them to answer, and the party outside the room has got to figure out which is the man and which is the woman.
Right.
It is a bit, isn't it?
It's very cis-normative, it's very heteronormative, and it's
Pride
very
in London
boring.
friendly.
Exactly, right? So Turing's idea was, why don't we replace the man or woman with a computer and see if the computer can convince a human that it is a human itself. That's basically the basis of the Turing test. So that's kind of what, CAPTCHA, what CAPTCHA tests are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Are you a human? That's the reverse of what Turing tests are. So that's a computer trying to figure out if you're it's trying to figure out if you're a person or not, or a computer or not. So essentially, to demonstrate this, people have been working for quite a while to try and get computers to do this, and they've been kind of successful.
Have they?
Yeah, well, I mean, in a little bit after Turing died, in 1966, some people came up with a program called ELIZA.
Not Alexa.
No, not Alexa. Close. Do you know why Alexa's called Alexa? This is a bit of a tangent.
With Alexa.
But do you know what?
Honestly,
Human
I have a
contacts.
theory. I think that Jeff Bezos has like a secret kink for a receptionist called Alexa.
Probably.
And he has, because what he's made, spent billions
How
of
can I
pounds
help you?
on making a robot lady that he can talk to and who'll do things for him. That's what's happened. And then he's made us all pay for it.
Would you not say the same about Steve Jobs and Siri, though?
Well, Siri was actually made by something else and then they acquired Siri. So it's not quite the same thing because they bought it. But yes, you could say the same thing. But I don't know, Jeff Bezos just seems a bit more weird to me.
He's the head of Amazon, by the way. I don't know if anyone doesn't know that.
Yeah, I exist in a world where everyone knows who Jeff Bezos is.
Back to my question. Alexa's called Alexa because it doesn't sound like anything else.
Apart from when somebody is called Alexa.
Yeah, obviously when someone's called Alexa, but that's the only thing it
Does
sounds
it
like.
not?
Yeah.
My Siri goes off all the time because I say, like, "Are you serious?" Or,
Yeah.
there is,
Or you're watching Harry
Sirius
Potter.
Black.
Yeah.
or there's, yeah.
Oh, fun fact about Alexa. Amazon has a system where when they say Alexa in an advert, they cut out a certain band of frequencies so that it doesn't activate an Alexa in your living room.
But they didn't do that
But
before.
Siri, Apple, didn't do that. And so their latest AirPods commercial just constantly activates like phones and HomePods
Or like your
and
HomePod,
AirPods
yeah.
all around the house.
Was there not-
It's so annoying.
Was there not a whole thing recently of Amazon using Alexa for that? There was an ad that said, "Hey Alexa, do this."
There was an accidental thing where either Amazon or someone else, there was an advert in which someone said, "Alexa, order me a doll's house." And then loads of people just got dolls' houses delivered to their house.
That definitely wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Park did. South Park are known for that.
Anyway,
kind
sorry,
of thing,
we'll carry on with your story.
Oh
about
yeah, my
Turing.
story. Back to Eliza. So Eliza, basically, she was supposed
There's a
to.
hole in my bucket. Sterilizer.
That's all she said. That's all the responses. Eliza worked by using keywords and kind of spitting out responses whenever she heard a keyword. And if she didn't have a keyword, she would just say something random. Just something.
And just hope for the. That's what I do in
wax poetic.
conversations
Yeah,
sometimes.
exactly. So I feel like James would not pass a Turing test.
I don't think so. I think Eliza would outdo me.
None of you have texted him, but when you're texting James, he wouldn't pass it. It's all.
No, I really wouldn't.
Did you know that years ago there was a computerized therapist where you would type your problems to it and all it would do is say back to you what you just said. And people rated this as like the best therapist ever.
What?
Yeah, an amazing therapist. And it was just a computer. You typed like, "I'm feeling sad." And it would reply, "You're feeling sad." And then you'd say, "Because this happened." And you go, "This happened." And it may be, I don't know whether it then would say like, "How did that make you feel?" for example. But most of it was just set up to type back to you in the third person what you said in the first person.
So you
And
you're
you felt
telling me,
better because it was kind of confirming your, like it was like going, "Oh, it's okay for you to feel that way. It's real."
you're telling me I'm paying £50 an hour for something I could just
Absolutely.
just get
You
from
just get
Google.
an app.
You could do all of therapy, unless you were an extreme case, you could do all of therapy in your head. You just don't do it.
I think you
pay
should
someone
fix
else to sit
that,
there
'cause
and
now
listen to you.
Recently, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's been a case where there's this AI that kind of tells you when to go to the hospital or not, rather than calling up 111. Yeah. So recently, people have figured out that using
I'm
this,
sure you can figure that out for yourself, can you?
people can't.
Actually, no. My friend was stung by a wasp the other day, and we had to go to the hospital, but we did call 111 first.
Really?
Yeah.
So this
Carry on.
AI, artificial intelligence, you say you've got a pain in your left arm that hasn't been there for very long, but now you're feeling tired.
You having a
Any of
stroke?
us, yeah, or a heart attack.
Heart attack, yeah.
This thing just tells you to put some ice on it, take a painkiller, and wait.
And it'll all blow over. It's fine.
Imagine calling a doctor like, "I think you're having a heart attack." Nah, just some paracetamol. That's fine. So back to our AI, Eliza. Eliza would just give you back pretty much whatever you said, and when it couldn't find something to say, it would say something somewhat poetic.
Oh, poetic, not just a random string of words.
No, not a random string of words. Something.
That is poetry.
Do your taxes.
It's a random string of words.
Everything's a random string of words. Look, let's not get into that. People kind of contested whether or not Eliza could really pass the Turing test because she was a bit rubbish, to be totally honest.
Relate.
So they came up with someone else. I say someone else, something else. It's a program called Parry. I don't know why I was waiting for an applause there. No one knows who Parry is.
Applaud for him anyway.
So he was made in 1972. I'm just assuming that he's a guy. He's a program. He was described as Eliza with attitude.
Ooh, sassy Eliza.
He was made as an attempt to model the behavior of a paranoid schizophrenic.
Oh, so that's the attitude.
Yeah. So they tested it in the way that you would normally test using a Turing test. I've said the word test so many times. Test. They used it.
Test?
The normal way being that you would have a randomized test where some people are people and some people are the system, and you talk to it through the computer and see if you can work it out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So they put Parry up against actual psychiatrists, and they would speak to actual patients and also Parry, and they only managed to guess correctly 48% of the time, which is just
that's random. Wait, that's less than if they just picked randomly.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they were choosing randomly by that because the margin of error means that 48% is a completely random guess. They had no idea whether they were speaking to an actual person or just a computer, and that's actually something that is quite common nowadays. You guys remember the Google Chatbot?
I forgot about that.
It was
I blocked
a Google
that out of my memory.
I just had Smarter Child and
What was the other one? It was called like Evie or something.
Evie or something like that.
Evie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Evie was creepy.
there were lots of them going around, and those basically work on the same principle, but they obviously use machine learning.
Evie was horrible.
Yeah. Well,
She was a bully.
The thing is, if you don't keep these
Evie's
things,
just a reflection of you.
Oh.
So
not just you, of
I was always nice
everyone.
to her.
Evie was a
She'd be
bully.
like,
It means you hate
"No."
yourself.
But these are the things. So if you leave these unchecked, they'll just turn into Nazis usually.
Yes, I love this. There is
You
a
love
Microsoft.
Nazis.
Sorry. There's an example of this Twitter account that Microsoft created where they tried to get it to observe what people tweet about and then tweet new things, and it tweeted some really messed up far right stuff. It was crazy.
Very
they had to shut
quickly
it
as well.
down. Like,
Within about a day.
They couldn't retrain it. They were just like, we have to just unplug
tweeting
it.
horrible
like,
stuff.
Unplug it. Unplug the Nazi. Like it's uncontrollable.
Unplug the Nazi.
Unplug the Nazi.
the Nazi.
So that's essentially how the Turing test works. You guys get it? You got a good...
We do.
Got a good grasp on it now.
Yeah, so Alan Turing believed that the best way to make a computer like a person, or be able to pass the Turing test, wasn't to make a full human mind, because he thought our minds aren't fully adult when they're born. We should make a child's mind and then teach
Yeah.
it. So he wanted to make a baby's brain, essentially, as a computer, and then teach it to be an
Teach it
adult.
stuff.
Yeah, he called it an unorganized machine, which is what most...
That's what I am.
I was gonna say it's what most children
Brilliant.
are. So yeah,
That's
I suppose, yeah. So he wanted to do this by essentially just rewarding the child. I say the child, the computer.
The child.
He wanted to reward the
My
computer
baby.
when it made the right choice and punish it when it made the wrong choice. Well,
Take out a battery.
it's how machine learning works. Really, it's
You basically give the computer a goal and it randomly tries stuff, and every time it happens to get the right answer, you say yes, and it tries to work out why it got it right.
it's teaching a computer to teach itself. And
Yeah.
bear in mind, this guy was Alan Turing. He was doing this before computers really existed. Which
And
is,
if
Yeah,
you
when they
think
took up
this
a
is
whole
like,
room.
if you think this sounds crazy, this is how the whole world works. This is how banks work. This is how Facebook works. This is how
Targeted
everything
advertising.
that's how YouTube works.
works. Yeah, targeted advertising that's how that works.
That's how captchas work
It's
as well.
basically what
Yeah.
it's doing is if you give the computer, say for example, increase the amount of times you click on an advert, it will randomly pick adverts with a certain degree of randomness, and the ones that you click on, it will learn that something about that advert made you click it, and slowly it will learn how to make you click adverts. Eventually, how to just make you click adverts with 100% accuracy.
It's just it's trial and error, but computers can think a lot faster than us. So they get to the solution really quick. But the issue with it is that if you say give a computer the task, make everyone in the world happier.
Yeah,
or make
I
the
love
world
this.
happier, yeah.
Oh, you made a video about
you
this,
made
didn't
it,
you?
didn't you? Yeah.
If you give the computer something you think is a good idea, like increase average world happiness, then the easiest thing to do would be to pump you full of drugs or kill the sad people.
That is the most efficient way.
And so, yeah, you can give it what seems like a positive task from your societal point of view, but on the objective point of view, there's a much easier way of fixing it that you're just not doing it, and the computer doesn't have a moral set, so it just kills you or pumps you full of ecstasy.
If you don't keep them in check, they will just run amok. And also, they can be influenced by... Well, they'll be influenced by the people that have made them. So the majority of people making these computer systems now are white men.
Yeah, so all these computer systems end up being racist.
Always racist.
Like,
always racist.
Somehow.
Which is why facial recognition didn't work for Asian people for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it didn't work quite well for black people either.
And then the Chinese government made the most sophisticated facial recognition technology in the world and deployed it across their entire country. So they leapfrogged us a little bit.
Yeah. What was the camera company that put in a feature about it detects when you blink in a photo? And every time you took a photo of an Asian person, it was like, did someone blink?
Yeah. All the time.
Was it Nikon? Yeah.
So offensive. Yeah, so I was just going to say about machine learning, it basically being a form of evolution. You guys know how evolution works? Survival of the fittest. It's like that, but with computers instead of animals. Do you guys know? I'm gonna start everything with, do you guys know this? Because I know you don't.
I'm going to surprise you,
Rude.
bitch.
Okay, then how did computers really work before digital computers were really around?
They were large valve type things that behave in the same way as a transistor on a microchip.
Okay.
Bitch.
Smart boy. There was a lot of coding was basically just written down in books.
Yeah.
Like pages upon pages. So there's this one story of Alan Turing. They wrote this program of how to play a game of chess fairly well. But because they couldn't make the computer that could run this program, to prove that it worked, Alan Turing just sat down and flipped through all the programming code.
Wow.
And played the game of chess over a period of, I think, about 36 hours.
Yes.
It didn't win against one of the best chess players, but it won against someone else.
There was a time years ago where you would buy magazines and they would have games written out in zeros and ones, and you just typed it into your computer and then you had the game.
We just download it from the App Store now.
Yeah, well, we couldn't download like 200. Like, imagine you put in 200 megabytes of data into your computer, 0 and 1.
Do you guys remember when you couldn't play anything on a computer, when downloading just a picture would take
Yeah, I remember downloading
ages.
Halo and it took about 3 days.
The worst thing, you buy like an Xbox or a PS something, and you
PS something.
PS something.
Look,
What year are we in?
I fell out of touch with these things a long time ago. You'd get one of those and it says, we now need to install the updates. And you can't play it for like 3 hours. Now those just go minutes.
I have a
Yeah,
worse
that's
story.
true.
I once got Mario Kart for Christmas and then I opened it and there was no Mario Kart in there. And then I had to wait a whole day until Boxing Day to play Mario Kart and I had no other gift. And that was my Christmas.
That's really funny.
That's worse than waiting for
Yeah.
downloads of updates.
I hate when when you get a game, you get a game box, and then you open it, it's just a download code. I would have just got it online.
I prefer the disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of a disc. It's
tangible.
like a book in your hand. Can't read
Anyway,
it.
tell
though.
us more
Okay,
about
yeah. I keep on getting off track. Shall we talk about?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, go for it. I'll give you permission.
In the 21st century, as I said, there's a lot more of these talking programs that you talk to that tell you that they're human when they're not. That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, my car, when I press like an address, it goes, I'm just thinking about it. No, you're not. You're not
sure?
a person. Just say loading. Just say loading. I don't want you to have an eye. You don't have a sense of self. Stop it, car.
Do you guys feel weird when you don't say please and thank you to Siri?
No.
No.
Do you not?
You are
No.
weird.
I need to say please and thank you, or
I'm
it's
my
rude.
usually
secretary.
like borderline emotionally
cuss her-
abusive to Siri. I'm like, bitch,
I
set
do
a
cuss her
fucking
out more
timer.
than I...
Okay, put it this way: when Terminator,
If I'm talking about Alexa and they're in the room and I accidentally activate her, I'll be like, go away.
I can do it to Google because Google isn't a person,
Neither is Siri.
but she's so nice to me, and she's Australian. She's just trying to help.
Mine's South African. It's the best accent.
I cannot find an alarm. I'm sorry.
I've set all your alarms.
So for programs that pass the Turing test, there's the Loebner Prize, which
Sorry?
the Loebner.
Low.
I assume.
Loebner.
Look, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. I should research this, but I see a name. I'll wing it on the
Or
night.
they should name their thing less shitly. It's spelled Loebner. Who thought that was a thing that you could... Why make the...
Loebner.
Why shorten it?
I assume it's a surname of someone. Fibonacci.
Fibonacci.
Okay, I'll talk about Fibonacci then. Do you guys know who Fibonacci is?
He is a philosopher
He really likes fun.
and mathematician.
Okay, he's a mathematician and a philosopher.
That's what I just said in the other order.
Yeah, but he's more of a mathematician. Do you guys know what the Fibonacci?
The other way around.
Do you know what the Fibonacci sequence is?
Yeah.
Okay, give it out to me, guys. Let's do it.
1, 2, 3, 5,
Is there a 0?
8, 13.
I don't think there's. So you just add the previous number to your current number, and that's your next number. So there's the golden.
And then it makes the spiral. that
yeah,
you
there's the
might know.
golden ratio, the golden spiral. That's so cool.
That one, yeah, that one.
So
It
you
looks like a seashell. That!
the golden spiral is essentially using the Fibonacci sequence to make a spiral by using curves.
By plotting the points. Yeah.
Yeah, plotting the points.
Just did that with my microphone.
This is not something that can be described in an audio format.
No, it really can't.
No.
Just Google it.
Just Google it. It looks like a snail shell. So lots of things in nature use the Fibonacci sequence, and we didn't really know why until Turing sat down and decided to figure it out. So essentially, he sat and he decided to do that, and he got really into mathematical biology. And all of his work that he did with that was used to figure out why, say, cat spots are distributed the way they are, and why snail shells are that spiral.
Wow.
Yeah, it all comes back to that same sequence.
That's really cool.
It is really cool, isn't it? And he figured it out. Isn't he a smart nugget?
He's a smarty pants.
Good boy. I hope we didn't do anything horrible to him.
Well, then.
I'm reading a headline that says
No.
conviction for gross indecency.
Yes, he was naked once, and
And
I've
gay.
never been naked in my life. Not even in private.
this was all before we understood what DNA was, and he figured out how kind of genes.
What? He did all these things.
Well, he figured out
all these things.
he figured out the basis for it. He figured out the maths of it. He's a very smart
What an
guy.
absolute boss.
He's very good, isn't he?
Epic style.
What a lad. Top lad Turing.
Do you guys remember me saying that he was a bit of a gay?
Oh no.
And as gays are wont to do,
He's a gay man.
they do gay stuff. So
That's just what they do.
in January 1952, just before he turned... No, his name is
Gay.
Turing.
Just before he turned gay.
Alan Gay.
In 1952, in January, Turing was about 39 years old, and he started a relationship with a 19-year-old guy called Arnold Murray. He was unemployed. So essentially, Turing was a sugar daddy to, to some teenager.
Wow.
Was.
That changes the game.
Alan Turing met his boy toy. And
Boy toy? You mean toy boy?
toy boy, his toy boy.
Boy toy is a very different thing, Corey.
Oh, God.
You can probably pick up one of those here at Pride if you wanted.
Not everything about pride is sexual, Luke.
No, I know.
How
but you could
offensive
pick
of you
it
to
up.
say. So he had a sexual relationship with his...
Not everything about
Naughty.
Pride is sexual, Corey.
No, but this is Alan Turing we're talking
Not
about.
everything about Alan Turing. Stop sexualizing Alan Turing.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's kind of what happens.
We've had 30 minutes of non-sexual Alan Turing.
As I said, Alan Turing had a boyfriend. They were gay together. They had sex in Alan Turing's house.
Do we have any evidence that they had sex?
Okay, I don't have any... well, no, yes, I do.
Do you? What evidence do you have that Alan Turing had
Recovered a
sex?
condom.
He was found to have had gay sex in a British court of law.
Okay, that's assuming the court of law is always right.
That's a very
Sure.
inappropriate place to have sex.
The court of law.
But Mr. Turing, you're doing it right now.
I can't stop.
His house was broken into,
Guilty as charged.
which is a bit of a bummer. So he...
Excuse me.
So Alan Turing's house was broken into, and he went to the police, as you would tend to do. And whilst talking to the police, he admitted that he was banging Arnold, which was a silly thing to do because that was very, very illegal. So instead of investigating the robbery, they decided to arrest him for being a big gay.
This is like a mad time
Yeah, right?
in the world that this
Hey,
existed.
My house was robbed while my boyfriend was there. Boyfriend? So he was charged with gross indecency, which,
In his own home.
yeah, which is essentially what we used to call being gay and having gay sex. Sodomy, essentially. Yeah. So you could be jailed for this. So he went to trial. He pleaded guilty.
He was jailed, wasn't he?
No, he went to trial. He pleaded guilty. So he had the option to either go to jail or to
Get castrated.
go on probation.
Oh.
Yeah. However, a big
Like
part.
Professor Umbridge in Harry Potter 5.
She wasn't castrated.
Put
Luke.
everyone on probation.
Yeah,
She
but
castrated Hagrid. Don't you remember that scene?
oh, that was my favorite scene in the book.
Yeah.
So a big part of
He was chemically castrated, though. Wasn't
yeah.
He?
So
Hagrid was chemically castrated.
Yes.
he was magically castrated. I thought
Magically.
a part of his probation was that he had to be chemically castrated, which just meant that he had to take estrogen pills for a year. So he didn't take pills. He injected it. So he went on HRT essentially, but not because he wanted to.
Not because he wanted to.
No. He grew breasts. He became impotent.
You would do, yes.
Well, yeah, just a little bit. His body became feminized, and he didn't really have any sexual drive anymore. So I suppose it did work. He wasn't as much of a gay as he was before. Is that sad? Yeah. So yeah, but he apparently took it in good humor. He made jokes. He had a good time. You know.
Did he?
I have.
That's what I've heard. The issue is
tits.
he's gay, so he can't even really enjoy them, which is a shame.
I think if you were a straight man with tits, you would enjoy your own tits, Corey. You're a bisexual man. Do you enjoy your own penis?
I do. As I said, he was on estrogen for a year. And he was given estrogen in 1952, and unfortunately, on the 8th of June 1954, he was found dead. Yeah, not good. We all have to die, but he died a little too soon. He was only 41 years old, and it was cyanide poisoning, and he was found with an apple half-eaten in his hand.
And so the
Apples
implication
have
is that
cyanide in
he
them.
injected the cyanide into the apple like Snow White and then ate it and died.
I don't think you've seen
Very
Snow
poetic.
White, because she did not inject cyanide into her apple.
Wait, what did
I think
Snow
we watched two
White-
completely different films.
What did Snow White do with an apple?
She ate it.
She ate it and she fell asleep.
No,
That's what happened. So
witch-
that's why it's the same thing. Like, it's similar.
I don't
He
think
just fell asleep
dying is not the same as falling
He
asleep.
fell asleep forever. Maybe he's still alive and he's waiting for his Prince Charming to come and kiss him.
Arnold did not wake him up.
People did actually think it was like Snow White, because he did really enjoy Snow White. Apparently, it was his favorite film.
Oh, that's probably why he did it then.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. And Corey laughed at me. Shut up.
Fun fact: apples actually already have cyanide in them.
Cool.
So in apple seeds there is cyanide. But you can eat a bunch of apple seeds and still be fine, because you can't digest the outside of the seed. But if you're taking the inside of the seed, I think it's like the seeds of like maybe 50 apples or something, you could have enough. I think it's
50?
roughly that
They
much.
sell these at Tesco. They should be controlled like how you can't buy much paracetamol.
You can only buy 49 apples
buy
at a
loads of
time.
apples either.
It'd be very difficult to kill yourself using apple seeds, Luke.
Well, 50 of them.
It might be easier to eat enough bananas to kill yourself. I don't have the numbers on that, but you can physically eat enough bananas to kill yourself. So as I said, his suicide, I'm saying that in air quotes because I've just remembered that this is an audio format. His suicide was contested. It might have actually been just an accidental death.
Oops.
Well, where he accidentally injected cyanide into an apple.
They thought he might have inhaled the cyanide from a device used to gold plate spoons.
What?
So electroplating is this. Electroplating basically works by dissolving gold in something and using electricity to get it onto something else. So you dissolve the gold in potassium cyanide, which could create cyanide gas. Now, enough of that will kill you. They thought that it was his death, his autopsy, kind of showed that it might have been closer to inhalation rather than injection. So his death is contested as to whether it's suicide or not.
Maybe it was a whoopsie.
Supposedly he did that. He set that up on purpose. He set up the electroplating thing in his spare room on purpose so that his mother would think that it was accidental.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a very clever man, and as I said before, he did take it in good humor that he grew tits and stuff. But that is the episode, guys. Did you enjoy hearing about Alan Turing? Thank you for listening. You can find the full references for this episode in the description. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, and why not leave us a nice wee review? Find and contact us at SciGuysPod on Twitter and Instagram, or send us an email at sciguyspod@gmail.com. You can follow me at Not Corey.
You can follow me at Jampkin.
You can follow me at Luke Cutforth.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.